Hi everyone. Today I will share my MAQ software interview experience with you so that if any of you has an interview upcoming, this video can help you out. So I applied off campus for the STE1 role. They provided Microsoft forms for the the application, and I filled those forms out, and within a week I got a link to an OA. So talking about the OA, in itself, the OA was simple, I would say. It had around 29 questions, if I'm not wrong. Out of those 29 questions, two were DSA or coding questions, and other 27 were a mix of aptitude and core CS fundamental questions, and they were all MCQs. So, and the DSA questions were of easy level, easy to medium level on lead code. So yeah, so that was I was easily able to clear the OA, and after clearing the OA within a week, I got an interview call for like an interview form for the in-person interview. I had to fill my JEE main score, my in-person interview location preferences, my expected CTC, and all those details in that form. And after I filled the form, I went to the location for the in-person interview, and they will give you an ID card, and will you will have to wait for your turn. For my case, like we were four people who were there for the interview. So the HR called me when my turn came, and I was sent to a cabin where there was I think she was of senior level, or maybe even a tech lead, and she took my first round. So in the first round, um, it was not really a complex round, given you have not lied in your resume, because she went and asked questions from my resume, and if you don't know, if you have put blatant lies in your resume, then that won't work out. So just put something you can defend. So so the first question, like I was asked a DSA question, and the question was that given a string, you have to find out or output all the partitions in which each substring is a palindrome. And so I asked her, I told her about the brute force approach, where I would recursively find the solution, and she was happy with that, but she asked me if I could further optimize it, and I told her that I was thinking about a DP. And yeah, so she just wanted me to write a pseudocode, and so I was able to write a pseudocode, but she didn't want me to run it. And we were doing this on a screencast software, so she was able to see it on her laptop, and I was writing on my screen, face to face though. So some core fundamental questions that she asked was like, what is normalization, what are the different forms of normalization. And after that, she asked me mainly from my resume, since I had put working with large language models in my resume. She asked what I know, and she asked some things from my project. And since I'm working as a data engineer, she asked me like if I knew SQL. So she asked me some queries, like some SQL questions. I didn't know one of the question, but I knew what CTEs were. She asked me what CTEs were, and I was able to tell her that, like I was able to tell her about common table expressions. Yeah, and I think apart from that, my interview was over. The HR sent me over to wait again, and after a few minutes, she came back. She congratulated me on clearing my first round, and she told me that after 30 minutes, you will be having another round with the hiring manager. So I waited for that, and after 30 minutes, like I was again sent back to a cabin with for my round, and this is my final round, the hiring manager round. The hiring manager was very friendly. He started off by asking my introduction, what I like, what I don't like, and what I have done till now. So I told him about like I have myself, what internships I have done, what work I have done there, and he then started asking me some behavioral questions, like some of them that come on top of my mind are what challenges have you faced, like how have you grown as a software engineer from your past internships, and why do you need, why are you looking for a switch, and what was one thing that you learned from a hard project, and like about teamwork and so on. And yeah, so after that he started asking me some technical questions from my resume. And so if I wasn't I haven't I didn't bluff in my resume, so I was able to answer, because he was actually really going um, deep down based on my responses. So one thing that I mentioned was about a data engineering project that I did, a pipeline that I made, and he was asking like on what platform did I make them. I told him AWS. He asked me what services I was using. So I told him like I was using S3 for storage and Lambda for triggering. So he asked me like what is the difference between S3, sorry, Lambda and EC2 and all of that. And he was going deep. So I would say don't bluff here. It will be easier because yeah. And afterwards, I also mentioned that I had worked with Power BI, and he was intrigued on that. He noted that down. I feel that also played a, a significant role, because he didn't note anything down, but he noted that down. And also, like as you know, MAQ software does work with Power BI, so that I think helped me there. And yeah, afterwards he asked me a SQL question, like what is the priority of the SQL clauses. I didn't know that, but I took a random guess, and he knew that I didn't know that, but he didn't press on it. And I was and also like he gave me a DSA question. The conditions here were stricter. I was needed to implement the question completely, and I was also told that any assumptions I make, I should clear them out. Either through him, I should clear them out, or I should write under an assumption section that I am making this assumption. And I was also required to complete the code in one in a get go. So usually what I understood was he would be giving me edge cases, and my code should be edge cases proof, so that I would be selected. And I was able to do that question. It was a simple question. I just had to print stars based on the occurrences of a character in a string. So I was given a string, and let's say in that string a occurs 3 times. So I was to print 3 stars on top of like a. And so if b occurs 0 times, I had to print 0. So I have to print that grid. Yeah, afterwards I was like, my interview was over, and 15-20 minutes later the HR came again. She said that I was selected for the role, and that I would get the confirmation or the offer letter by the next day. So the next day I did get the offer letter, but the compensation I received was below than what I had expected, so I didn't take up the offer. Um, and yeah, so that was my experience, and I hope it helped. And if any of you have an upcoming interview, then I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.